Welcome, Phobophiles. This is Tales of the Midnight Hour. I'm your host, Nicole Nightfall, here to guide you into the shadows and through the midnight hour. Prepare yourself for tales that will haunt your dreams and conjure your deepest fears. Listen closely as we step into the darkness together. Welcome to Spirit of Ojibwe, where Minnow, a Chippewa descendant, shares the haunting legends and ancient lore of a sacred lodge deep in the Hiawatha National Forest. Join us as we explore a legend passed down through generations, with more stories to come.
My name is Minnow, and I manage Spirit of Ojibwe, a Chippewa lodge deep in the Hiawatha National Forest. As my grandfather just passed on to the next life, I regrettably am preparing for this sacred land to revert to the National Forest. This is not by choice, but due to the government's claim to preserve national heritage sites. My grandfather's passing marks the end of our guardianship over this land. It is my sacred duty to record and pass along the legends of this sacred land and the lore of my ancestors before they are lost to time. As descendants of the Chippewa tribe, my family has guarded this land for centuries. The legends of this land are woven into the fabric of our history. Spirit of Ojibwe is more than just a vacation spot. It's a sanctuary where the tales of Chippewa spirits dance among the hardwoods. The lodge is built of cedar logs, hewed by the same hands that held its secrets. It exudes the scent of cedar and the secrets within. The lodge has a rustic charm that weeps a serenity, calling visitors who seek solace and a connection with nature. Spirit of Ojibwe Lodge, surrounded by northern Michigan forest and the majestic Great Lakes, is a haven where the boundaries between the natural and spirit world are as delicate as a dew-covered web. Every rustle of leaves, every call of the eagle carries the legends of generations past, a landscape of wisdom and respect. My earliest memories of Spirit of Ojibwe are stories told by my grandfather from across the campfire. He spoke of a time long before the mighty Mac spanned the straits, when this land was wild and mysterious. It was a time when the lodge stood as a sanctuary, a haven from the restless spirits that roamed the land. One night, as we sat around a campfire, the flames dancing about the forest, my grandfather spoke, his voice low and filled with the legacy of our ancestors.
There was a time long before the bridge connected the great peninsulas when this land was untouched by outsiders. Our land was dense and full of secrets, and the spirits of our ancestors roamed the forest. It was in this time that a group of outsiders trespassed onto our land, driven by greed and whispers of riches.
My grandfather's eyes danced in the firelight as he recounted the old legend.
These men, whose names long forgotten, had heard rumors of riches. They believed they could harvest these treasures for their own gain. So they trespassed, their voices echoing through the sacred land as they plotted their scheme.
I leaned closer, captivated by his words. My grandfather's voice went deeper.
Little did they know that their mere presence had stirred the spirits to wake. Among them was the Wendigo, a malevolent force born from the depths of hunger and despair. The Wendigo listened to their scheme with a growing hunger and whispered into their ears, planting a seed of destruction.
The night grew colder as he spoke, and the fire crackled.
As the shadows grew long, a wind howled through the trees, and a blizzard unlike any other descended upon the lodge and its trespassers. This storm was not brought on by nature. It was a manifestation of the Wendigo's wrath, a chilling display of power for disrespecting the land.
Grandfather paused, letting the weight of his words linger.
The outsiders were not prepared for this harsh reality and found themselves trapped in the lodge with no escape. As their supplies dwindled and the cold gnawed at their bones, the Wendigo's seed began to grow.
I shivered, not just from the cold, but from the sense of dread that hung in the air.
The men, with a hunger that could not be sated, greedily ate their rations, and then turned on each other. When the storm finally subsided and rescue arrived, there was no sign of life. The bodies of the trespassers were found frozen and half-eaten, their faces frozen in terror with expressions of insanity and greed.
My grandfather held my gaze, his eyes filled with the wisdom of our ancestors.
This land, stained with their blood, bore witness to the consequences of their greed. And so, the legend of the Wendigo grew, another lesson to be passed along at the campfire. This legend stood as a lesson of the delicate balance between man and spirit in the heart of the Hiawatha National Forest.
The fire crackled and popped, and the shadows drew closer. I sensed the spirits themselves listening. I shivered, realizing the powers this sacred land held. Years have passed since those nights by the campfire, and Spirit of Ojibwe Lodge remains a testament to time. Its original structure is weathered, but resilient. The lodge was built generations ago, but still remains a focal point amidst the ancient land my ancestors once called home. Surrounding the lodge are 5 rustic cabins, spaced out in a defensive circle around a 10-acre camp area. Each cabin is built from cedar and has its own secret history. A well-marked camp area and hiking paths keep guests safe from the unknown. Hiking paths wind through the forest and invite guests to explore the beautiful landscape. The hiking paths lead to a lake, where still water reflects the sky above, and you can hear the distant flow of the river. Our guided canoe and hiking tours feature hidden treasures like ancient petroglyphs and sacred springs. But amid this peaceful camp is a solemn reminder, an etched wooden plaque hanging in each cabin. The camp rules, each a piece of wisdom learned over generations. These rules are not just guidelines, but guardians, protecting both guests and the land they tread upon. 1. Guests must be in their cabins by midnight. 2. The main camp area, marked with red reflectors, must never be left after dark. 3. Fires must be extinguished by midnight. 4. Pets must be leashed at all times and be kept indoors after dark. 5. Swim in designated areas only. Never swim alone or after dark. 6. Respect wildlife. Do not approach or feed wild animals. 7. Guests are responsible for their personal belongings and safety. 8. Follow posted trail markers and do not leave designated trails, marked with yellow reflectors. 9. Report any unusual occurrences or sightings to lodge staff immediately. And 10. Emergency contact number is 906-254-7871. Use only in case of emergency. These rules are tokens of wisdom passed down through the years. They are roots in the tales that I will share, demonstrations of our reverence for this land. As the day darkens and the night paints constellations across the sky, these legends echo like drums in the forest, each tale a whisper that carries the weight of centuries, reminding us of our roots in this sacred land. More tales await, and with each story I put on paper, I weave another strand of fabric into my tribe's history. I carry forever their legacy, Spirit of Ojibwe.